Hey guys, welcome to an episode of This Isn't Fun Anymore podcast. My name is Phil.
I'm Chris. I think this is episode 10, right?
Yeah.
And this episode, we started off by talking about some news items.
Yeah.
Then we also talked about a canceled Kinect game.
Yep.
And then we sort of delve into some games that we were currently playing, which includes Alien Isolation.
And then I talked some Final Fantasy. Some sweet, sweet Final Fantasy.
Yep. So, also, guys, we are doing the 24-hour game marathon. It's going to be this Saturday, October 25th. So, if you guys want to catch that on Twitch, just go to twitch.tv/thisisn'tfunanymore. You can watch the live stream we do for the entire 24 hours. And if you want to donate to the Children's Hospital, that would be great. There's a link on the website. It's also on the Facebook page. And if you just go to the extralife.org website, you can search Christopher Davis and find it that way. So,
yep. It'll be good times.
If you guys are into it.
Yeah. We'll just leave it on that if you guys are into it.
If you guys are into it.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy this episode.
Yep, guys. Thanks. Subscribe on iTunes.
Bloop, bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, the music broke for this episode. Will you just do the intro music for us?
Yeah.
Batman!
Right now we sailed 4 for $495. Like, what?
Yeah.
So.
You're like, I'm not an important businessman. I don't need to wear this every day.
Do you see what I'm wearing in here? I'm wearing gym shoes, jeans, and a shirt that says rugby. Like, I'm not...
Yeah. If I can figure out how to put this all on once, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Like, I'm lucky to be wearing underwear on a given day. I don't need a $500 t-shirt that says...
pocket square.
Yeah, that says suit shopping.
Yep.
But, whatever.
Welcome to episode 10 of the podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Phil.
So
we need to number it at this point?
Right, we're
so
beyond numbers.
We're so far along.
Yeah, I mean...
We're past the Final Fantasy numbering system.
No, I wish.
Call forward.
Yeah. Let's, I'm going to throw some news at you. How do you feel about that?
News me up.
So I don't know if you've heard this in the news. So we talked about the new Lord of the Rings game. It's gotten great word of mouth. Everyone says it's super great. You got to buy it.
Yep.
So in the last week, it's come out that all of those sort of great word of mouth, great reviews were paid for.
Okay. Yeah.
So what happened was, I guess the company was holding back review copies for actual reviewers, but they were paying like Twitch users and YouTube users to give it positive feedback.
No.
So it would get that word of mouth. It would get that, good publicity before the reviews came out. Because once the reviews came out and I looked at them, the most it's getting is like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So all
good.
that I know that's fine, but they were kind of being sly, tricky about. They were just paying people off, paying gamers and stuff to get good reviews to sort of spread the word within their own community before the legit reviews came out. And I think it's shitty that they held back review copies.
Yeah. That's definitely bad news. But it also opens up the way of, because this is how YouTube kind of has that loophole where like. You're doing reviews and you're essentially a part of the commodity. So you have to now like question whether the person you're following for video games is really like as unbiased and cool as you think they are, as opposed to just somebody who's just like, we'll give you $10 if you just talk about this game for a little bit in a positive light.
And I know it's true for the U.S. and I think it also for the U.K. is the reason people find this out is because you have to legally disclose that. So there was some small print at the end of a video or something that somebody saw, and then they sort of went back and tracked it and said, "Oh yeah, all these great videos that came out about this game were all paid for."
Yeah.
So that's not cool.
And I mean, like again, the stuff that I've witnessed from the game. Not even the reviewers themselves.
Yeah.
Like to me, it still looks like a game. Like I still want to get it, regardless of the people who are like. So it's just like almost you didn't need to do it.
Granted, I know, that's what I'm saying. What are you trying to hide? That's my point. Is why did they try so hard? It seems like a good game, anyways. Yeah. Why did they try so hard to make this like a big deal? Like it was like they were. Sort of crisis managing a situation that didn't need to be fixed.
I think the thing is they probably were just like, it's not perfect. Ooh, let's just pay people to make it sound like it's perfect.
Yeah,
it was like, yeah, you bumped up, like you said, like an 8 out of 10 to maybe a 10 out of 10
or 9.5 or anything.
But it's not. But like that's not like you still had a very positive game on your hand. It's not like you're bumping up like a game from like a piece of shit 4 out of 10, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're making it where people want to buy this game.
Right.
You're just like
a Mass Effect 1, you're saying.
yeah, the
Like a
0 out of 10. You're not pumping up Mass Effect 1 to get people to buy it. It's just like you still had the Lord of the Rings vote regardless.
Yeah.
And so now you're just like, the word of mouth is helping people who are kind of on the fence, but at the same time, like, reviews would have came out, it would have been a 7, it would have been an 8.
Yeah, that's why I think it's shitty. Like, I feel like they're trying to hide something. Like, I don't think they should have done it. I think
no.
if I would have saw an 8 out of 10, that would have been happy with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have needed this extra.
Well, the thing is, I feel like the reviews in general, I feel like it's always shitty whenever there's pay involved. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, like, it doesn't even matter the game. Like, there's never a time where I excuse it. Just like it should be. If you want to review games and you want to pretend you're a journalist for any amount of time, then you have to go with the assumption that journalists shouldn't be paid based on what they're reviewing, besides from the actual, like, GameSpot or something like that. Yeah. You should get your paychecks like anyone else. You shouldn't be getting a handout from EA because you gave Mirror's Edge a hand job under the table. Like, it doesn't matter. It just...
The old Mirror's Edge hand job.
You either like the game or you don't like the game.
Yeah.
And I understand that from their side, because I don't want to bring it back to Destiny, but it'll work perfectly as a transition. Like, Destiny was going to get... The people were going to get more money based on what their review score was. They were going to get a hand... Like, if they could get a Metacritic score of whatever, a 8 or more...
If any game should have done that, I think it should have been Destiny.
Well, no, I mean, but I'm
you
just
know what
saying,
I mean. If they were the one, like, if they would have tried to save face as far as getting good word out before the game came out, it would have made more sense, I think, with Destiny than it did with Lord of the Rings game. Because one, there was not as much hanging in the balance.
No, if the Lord of the Rings game would have flopped, people would have just been like,
okay, I'll get the next one then.
But yeah, no, I agree. Destiny definitely had more on the line, but just like one of those things where just like, I understand that there's money involved, but just let the game come out. Like, you should be a journalist and you should just be like, but whatever.
There's that infamous story of, Jeff whatever from GameSpot that got fired because he gave a low review to a company that had given ad service. Like, they did like whole banner ads and whole page ads for that game the day it came out, and then he gave the game like a shitty review, and he got fired for it.
Well, because you got to think, like, especially if you're running a website, ad revenue is the only way you're making money.
Yep.
You're not getting your donations from fans. Nobody gives a shit. So your ad revenue for a game like GameSpot, for instance, is other games, and the ad revenue is going to be before the game comes out because they want people to pre-order and they want people to buy it day one. You're not going to see ad revenue for a game that's 5 weeks old. Be like, hey guys, don't forget about Max Payne 3. Came out 3 years ago. We really like you to buy it. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
So you have to do that, but at the same time, like,
that's
the exception that you're just like, well, we're not going to run ad revenue if you also criticize the game.
That's the whole problem with this. Just bottom line, being a business, it's like there's so much gray area. It's like, it's shitty that they're doing this, but honestly, I can't think of a better solution because they need to make money to stay afloat. Yep. So it's like, I don't know what else they can do, but at the same time, it's just good to be aware of these things happening, whether or not you take it with a grain of salt or not.
Yeah.
It's good that it's transparent, I think.
It sucks, but I think my general rule of thumb is if a website runs an ad for a game, I immediately dismiss that review.
Yeah.
When GameSpot...
I mean, that's the thing. Like, we've been talking a lot about reviews recently.
Yeah.
But at the most part, I try not to pay attention.
Oh, no. It weighs, like, if I'm going to just give it a scale of, like, 1 to 10, like, 10 is, the entire scale of what it will take me to buy a game. Like, a review is a 1 point. Like, there's no... It doesn't factor that much.
Of anything.
But at the same time, just, like, when Call of Duty is getting ready to come out, there's going to be ad service like crazy. It's going to be videos and banners, and there's going to be like click nows, and it's going to be everything. And then GameSpot, and I'm just using that as an example, is going to run the review of it. And because I know that they were paid so much money just to have these ads up everywhere, that I can't honestly read the review, even if it's a 6, even if the review's a 6.
You're like, it should have been a 4 then.
And be like... Yeah, you're holding something back. If you were really going to criticize this game, the journalistic, ability should have been like, we can't take any of your money until after we review your game. And then if you want to advertise on us and our score is the same and we gave you a 3 and you still want to promote it and hope nobody reads the review, great. But, yeah. whatever. I mean, like you said, it's a business. So
yeah, there's no way around it, but you just got to be aware that it's happening so you understand what to take seriously and what to be like, well, this might be suspect.
Yeah, you can't advertise handbags on a game review website and expect to bring in your money like if you were advertising for, Destiny.
Right. All right, if I say the word Black Lotus Alpha to you, does that mean anything?
Yeah, it means you're racist.
Okay. Fair enough. So have you seen this video of a guy that was opening a Magic the Gathering starter pack from...
I need to go through my old Magic cards.
To see if you have one of these
I don't think I have a $30,000 card in there, and
No.
most of the cards are my brother's, so I'd probably have to split the profits with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw the video.
So there's this video of this grown man who I believe he was opening an original starter pack from 1993 of Magic the Gathering, and the way he was talking throughout the video, it seems like his viewers could decide which cards. Like he would send some cards to random viewers. So he's like, write down some cards you want, so I'll send them to you. And he's going through the deck. I mean, he's obviously very professional about this.
Yeah, he's got gloves on and everything.
He's got medical grade latex gloves and like an X-Acto knife to cut open the pack. So he's being very careful with it, not knowing what's in there. So he finally gets to the bottom card, which is the rare cards, and it's the Black Lotus Alpha card, which I guess is the most rare card. It's worth $30,000 at least.
It's crazy because I don't, and it's been a long time since I've even seen the video, but if I remember correctly, the Black Lotus card all it does is give you 2 mana of any color.
And 3 mana.
Is it 3 mana?
Yeah.
When tapped. They're just it's a great card. You play it for 0 mana, and it's just an artifact, but...
It wasn't, the specialty...
I'd like to show you my nerd card.
I know, right?
Because I used to play Magic.
Well, that's why I just wanted to throw out the word Black Lotus Alpha and see if you knew what I was talking about. Because I never really got into Magic. But the exciting thing watching the video for me was the fact that he went from this grown adult man to a little kid opening the N64 for the first time.
Yeah.
He gets visibly giddy and excited, and you see his hand shake, and he's really excited. He puts the card down. He doesn't know what to do. He's super excited. His friend's there too. He's like, "Oh my god, you see this? You see what's happening and stuff." So it's fun to watch. We're all still kids at heart. Obviously, if he's still into Magic and still doing these things, he's trying to recapture his childhood and stuff. Yeah. But it's still fun to see a grown ass man all of a sudden turn into a giddy child.
It's crazy to me too because obviously decks and stuff are random for the most part. It's finding that, I don't want to say holy grail, but if you were to open, if I was to go through my old deck of stuff now and find a card, immediately I'd be I gotta sell the shit out of this. Right. I need to make $30,000, and just be to find that completely randomly is just I have so much money.
I know. And it's an ironic thing too. I don't know if he's had the card since that long, but if he had the deck 21 years ago and opened it up, it would be worth nothing now.
It would be worth nothing. Yeah, when Magic was booming and you'd go in there, you had cards. I think my brother had a card that was worth $50.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. But at the same time, now you go in there and I have all, I played when it was first coming out. So I have old Generation 1 and 2 cards. So you'd be oh man, I have to have shit that's worth a lot because this stuff isn't in print anymore. But the problem is because Magic keeps changing its rules, my cards that I have don't even apply to the new rule system, so they are worthless unless you meet a collector who's just I need to have every card.
They're worthless as far as playing it within the game. Yeah. Just this card doesn't do that much, but it was rare because they only made 1,100 of them total. Yeah. So that's why it was exciting. And once again, if you would have just randomly gotten it in 1993, you would have been oh, this is nothing special. This kind of sucks as a alpha card.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Like I said, it makes me want to go through my old cards, but then I'd have to spend all the time to look up how much each one will get me.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't have the knowledge to go in the confidence to be I'm sorry, this card should be worth more. And they're just no, I don't think so.
I've been really meaning to go through my Pogs and see what they're worth. I'm sure
I don't think the Pogs
less than what they were originally.
Yeah, I don't think the Pogs have held on to their value.
No, neither have the Beanie Babies.
It's weird. Trading cards, you think as a kid, it's a great solid investment. I got some trading cards that are primo mint condition.
Yeah.
And I have whole sets of things. And you're just I've held on to these since I was collecting in 1990.
Yeah.
And they've got to be worth something. I doubt it.
No, that's the thing, you never know too. And that's why you kind of got to hold on to everything for 30 years because you don't know. Something now could be worth $10, but if you hold on to it another 5 years, it all of a sudden is the most important thing you own.
Yeah. Just like, it's crazy to me, and not to get off topic a little bit, but like...
What topic?
Yeah, good point. The Super Nintendo game Chrono Trigger, my favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
I think you've heard of it. If you kept it in a sealed box, unopened, it is the most expensive Super Nintendo game you can get. It's like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for an unopened game that they printed plenty of copies.
Yeah.
It's not like this is like, the Superstar Tournament where they printed 500 copies and you're getting one.
Yeah, and you had to like win a contest to get
Yeah,
it.
this is like you could have bought the game at any retailer for $50. But the problem is,
if you didn't open it though, because people like it so much, it was one of those things. If you had enough willpower to never open the game, then all of a sudden it's worth something.
Like, I wish I could go back and tell little Phil, buy 2 of everything. Buy 2, spend $100, buy 1, because games are $50 still back then. Buy 1, open it, play the shit out of it, sell it to Funko Land for your 5 cents so you can get the next game, and then buy 1 to keep sealed in the package.
Yep.
And right now, I wouldn't have to work in reality, because you look at all your childhood shit, and you're just like, how is this stuff selling for so much money? There are board games where I'm just like, this board game is $300?
Yep.
Spent like $9 on it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was the thing. I was lucky growing up because my dad would often buy 2 of everything. One, because that's just kind of what he does, but also he forgets that he buys it, so he buys another one. And a couple years ago, I sold a sealed NES cartridge, and it paid for a trip to LA, an entire week-long trip to LA.
Yeah.
It paid for the flights, paid for the hotel, paid for all the food, all the fun things I had there, which is not a cheap city to be in.
No.
And like the entire trip was paid because I just sold 1 cartridge because it was not opened. So
insane.
Yep.
I mean, like, as a moderate collector of video games, it'd just be like, oh, I'd like to keep it, but you're just like, you see how much it's going for, and you're like, I can get what? $10,000 for what? Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, have it.
Yeah, go ahead, take it. I'll keep the open copy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, that was the thing too. Like, if it's not like, oh, it was the only copy of the game I had, because obviously I had the game and I had played it and I had a lot of fun. So I'm like, if I ever want to play the game, which should be the only thing that matters, I still have it. So I didn't mind selling it off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Crazy
Sauce. Okay.
Tangent over.
So the Xbox One October update just came out.
Okay.
And it's kind of added more social features. The last couple of updates have sort of been to replace the Kinect more or less, because now Kinect's not standard. Now that there's features and navigation within the menus that were a lot easier with Kinect, and that's kind of what people would do. They've kind of implemented button presses for them now.
Okay.
So it's kind of gotten... Some of the things have gotten more unwieldy. Like, you used to just double tap the Xbox button to do snap, but now you got to double tap it and then choose snap because other options come up, which is kind of annoying. But anyways, that's not important. What's important is that they've added now achievement leaderboards. So now
I think I read over.
I knew this was coming out. I was dreading it coming because I've tried to get myself away. I've tried to get myself clean. I've been in achievement rehab now for a little while.
Yeah, you have. You've been really good.
I know.
You've been off the horse.
And then yesterday, I see a list of all my friends and how many achievements they've gotten in the last 30 days.
It's like adding streaks to TA. We both fell for that.
We absolutely did. And then we rode that so hard. We rode that pony until it died.
I did all the coke. I'm just assuming that streak is coke. I did all the coke until the fact that I had no house, no job, no money, no girlfriend.
Yeah.
And now I'm recovering.
Yeah. And you still have the bad taste in your mouth of
I still,
streaks.
to me now, it's just like, if I go 3 days in a row and I'm about to hit a 4th day, I just stop.
I saw you hit a 10-day streak a couple days ago. It was maybe a week or 2 ago.
Okay,
and I was
that's probably as high as it's been, though.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm on a 0 day right now.
But yeah, it's really just like my dealer keeps calling me up. It has my personal email, and every time I turn on my TV, there's a little side scroll on the bottom. Be like, hey, your buddies are getting a lot of achievements.
You gotta start deleting your friends list.
I know.
That's what that means.
The real problem is I've just friended a bunch of people because I've been playing Destiny. And so we've been friending each other, and all these assholes have 300 gamer score and stuff, 300,000.
Yeah, that's
so it's and all of them. I will say, though, when I first look at the leaderboard, you were 3rd or 4th.
What?
For the last 30 days, you had 2,175 achievements you had gotten. Oh, I'm sorry, gamer score, not achievements.
Okay.
But the only two people that beat you both had over 200,000, and the person that was fourth, because you were third, also had over 300,000.
Bam!
I was 10 on my own list, and that really made me angry. That's the thing. I've been so good about not getting achievements.
Yeah.
I've been playing games just to play the games, and now they're throwing this in my face. Every time I turn on my Xbox or
Stay
go to my
strong.
dashboard,
Stay strong.
there's just a list of like, hey, your buddies are cooler than you.
Stay strong. I lucked out, and we'll get to the games that I'm playing, but the reason I probably hit that list is because I'm just in flux, and I'm just playing a bunch of different games, and so I'm starting games that all have, like, I have 1 out of 50 achievements, so you play it for 10 minutes, so you can get, like, 10 achievements, and it's, you know, all of a sudden, as opposed to playing one game to finish, and you're getting 50 over the course of 3 weeks, now it's just like, let's play fairy tale fights, and I get 20 achievements in a day, and I'm just like, oh, that's alright.
So, we've been playing Saints Row 2 again. So that's kind of a game we've been co-oping recently.
Yeah.
Do you have any updated impressions of that? I mean,
I still love it.
This technically should go in like games we're playing, but I have more Saints Row news I'm going to talk about.
Update. I mean, I still like it. The missions are garbage, but I mean, here's the thing.
It's like they're like throwaway missions. They're not like bad. They just don't mean anything.
Yeah. Saints Row and Grand Theft Auto, the fun is in the side missions.
Yeah.
And in the
sandbox
open world,
mentality.
when you have a mission, just like drive here and under this time limit, and then kill all these people, and then fly a helicopter and land here.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, okay, I'm doing it because I'm going to get something out of it. You know, whatever the bonus is for this mission, or for in our case, achievements.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm willing to. I just want to knock through the story. And then we can do all the side missions.
Which are going to be more fun.
Which will be 10 times more fun.
Yeah.
And just drive around the city and blast music out of our thing and hit handicap people with their cars.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the fun to me for all those games.
Yeah, well, we always have more fun just doing the side missions so we have enough respect so we can do the main missions, or when we're just messing around, like when we first start to play or right before we leave.
Yeah.
And one of the favorite things that I've seen in the game happened last time we were playing when we were about to leave and we were just messing around causing mayhem in the city as we do, as we're just chatting. Causing mayhem, some cops showed up, blah, 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 blah. These pimps somehow got into the mix of our fight. This one pimp grabbed a random pedestrian by the back of his neck and by his pants and threw him into a brick wall like a sack of potatoes, knocked him out. Then I pointed that out to you. I was like, oh my God, did you see that? The guy just threw it in the window. So now we're both looking at this pimp that's running after us, and he runs over to a fire hydrant that's attached to the ground. He rips it out of the ground. Water starts spraying everywhere, and he's chasing us down the street carrying a fire hydrant. So that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of crazy, just like random stuff that happened, but it was fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like I said, like that's the best part is just seeing what the world throws at you. I mean, even if you're not that crazy, you just like drive around and all of a sudden just gangs and cops have shootouts.
Yeah.
Just for crossing over each other's territory, or you know, like honk your horn at a cab and then it goes crazy and it drives onto the sidewalk to mow down pedestrians. You're just like, I didn't freaking do any of this, and it's still great to just witness. And the missions, I mean, you have to have a story. For even a game like this, you have to have some sort of plot to move it forward. Yeah. It's like you just play them and literally, like, you don't pay attention to the cutscenes.
No, I literally do not even pay attention. Every time a mission starts, I'm like, what are we doing? I was out.
I'm just like, I don't know, we're driving to the circle.
Yeah.
And then the circle's going to tell us what to do.
I have pointed out, though, that Shaundi is just annoying me at this point. She never really bothered me before, at least not that I remember. But now it's like, why are you in our gang? Everything you do at first is like polar opposites. It's like she's a pothead that works out all the time, and then like she knows all these drug dealers, and then forgets that she's friends with them when they try to kill us.
Yeah.
And keeps making mistakes, yet she's the one that's always calling the shots during the missions.
No, I definitely I know you played through the story of 1, but you never cared to do much more than that, I think. Based on your like list, your achievement list. But what I was going to say, like, the first one just seemed, and again, this is back when they were trying to make a Grand Theft Auto, so they really were focusing on story, and it wasn't so crazy. But each gang that you were taking over had a main character, and it kind of made more sense. Yeah. You're just like, this guy's investigating, or, you know, is, you know, going undercover with this gang, so this is your point of contact, as opposed to all gangs report to Shaundi. Like, that's just like,
I know.
Okay, I don't what the hell is
Well, that's
your
what I'm saying. Like, it seems like based on the cutscenes and stuff and the missions that we're the only two people in this gang. There's also like
Yeah.
Pierce that shows up sometimes, but it's like us and Shondi.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we always the ones running the errands? Like, why can't we have? Because when we drive through the city, all we see is Saints Row members because we've taken over all the neighborhoods, and none of them ever do anything.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Is like you're supposed to be this big boss that's trying to take over the city, but at the same time, like you said, just like, hey, go pick up these drugs and then deliver them. Like, no. Send a Johnny who gives a shit if he dies to go pick up those drugs.
And everything always goes wrong. Yeah.
I should be only, like, handling the super big business.
Yeah.
I should be breaking people out of prison. That's it. That should be my job.
Yeah, we've done that a lot. We break into a lot of prisons, a lot of police stations.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm still having fun with the game, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm still enjoying it.
So have you heard about the canceled Saints Row game? The Saints Row the Cooler is what it was called?
No.
So it was a Kinect-based fighting game.
Probably would have been bad.
Probably would have been bad just based on the other fighting games.
Fighting games, yeah.
In theory, it's kind of fun, though. So basically you're a bouncer at a bar, and you have to stop fights or start fights. So they said there's sort of this, like, whole thing is, like, go to a bar, start a fight, beat people up.
Yeah.
And they say you can like order drinks and then smash it over people's heads. There's like an ecosystem within the bar. There's other like mini games you can do. Like you can gamble, you can get lap dances. But essentially it's like you have to go up through the ranks of just being this lonely bouncer to like being this like awesome
tough guy
fighter.
Yeah.
But it kind of plays with the whole sandbox thing of like you can just start shit. Like the bar can be fine, nothing can be happening, and if you want to just pick up a chair and hit a guy, you can, and then you have to fight him.
Yeah. Even though he's got a leg of a chair wrapped around his neck.
But they wanted to use they used Saints Row like 1 locations because this was 2010 they were making this game I think, and they created some other things. But I guess they canceled it after about 6 or 8 months. They said they were about 60% of the way done, and it was canceled because of quality concerns. Was one of the things people said. Which makes sense. Like I said, based on all the other fighting games that had come out with the Kinect.
Yeah.
But I like that they were trying to make a Kinect game. I like that Kinect was maybe going to have a fun, different game that wasn't.
That's the thing is, like, you hear about all these, like, Kinect, I guess, ideas of what games could be.
And they always get canceled.
And you're just like, why didn't you continue working on it? Like, I know it was probably tough, and it probably sucked, and whatever, but just, like, if you could have made, like, all it needed for the Kinect to survive is it needed a couple of hardcore games where people were just like, this is why I got the Kinect.
Like if Rise would have come out and been the original game, which was Kinect based.
That would have been amazing.
If this game would have came out and been halfway decent, but just this type of games, like big studios that are using their franchises to have because it already has that built-in franchise, and the whole idea of just like starting fights, starting shit with people sounds fun.
Well, they're great.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't just have Kinect. You can't just be like, oh, we'll tie it into Mass Effect 3 where you can yell grenade, and that's the whole point of the Kinect. It's like, that's
well,
annoying.
that was obviously tacked on afterwards.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, but you can't, like, you need to have your standalone games that are bigger than just a collection of mini games, and I feel like that's always been what the Kinect has just been known as, because the only games that ever get the green light is just like collection of minigames, workout simulator, dance simulator.
Yeah,
like that's it.
Speaking of which, so right after that game was canceled, they started working on another game, which was the UFC Personal Trainer, which I guess they used assets. Both the way they figured out how the Kinect works and the fighting styles and stuff and put it into that game.
Yeah.
Which was just like a fitness game based on punching and kicking.
Yeah, I played it in Best Buy.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit, and it was literally just like, all right, now throw 3 knees.
Yeah. But if you were like kneeing a guy in the face, that probably would have been more fun.
Oh, it would have been a blast. As opposed to kneeing a guy holding one of the like boxing trainer gloves.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Overall, I don't think it would have been a good game, like I said, based on the past of every other game to come out, but I like the idea, and I kind of wish it would have come to fruition just to see if it would have succeeded.
That's the problem with, I think it could have, if hypothetically it could have came out with the new Kinect, I think it would have been a whole different story. I think the Kinect 1 just wasn't responsive enough to do fighting games.
No, especially back in 2010, like 4 years ago, they couldn't figure out like the skeleton properly. It would always break when you would like kick your legs too high and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean you could play any game like that, and it's just like it just doesn't register like quick movements. And fighting games are quick movements. If you have the Kinect 2, where it's like, you know, all this updated, loaded, you know, processing power and hardware.
And they
a
figure
better
out where the
camera.
floor is, and they know that you can be on 1 foot or don't even have to be touching the ground. It doesn't like break the whole machine. Like it did before.
And then you can do a good fighting game. The problem is like they come out the Kinect 2 and they just don't give it a chance. And we are where we are now, where Kinect games will trickle in, but it'll only be games that people have been working on
previously.
Since. Yeah, they're not going to start and be like, I want to make a Saints Row Kinect game. So, if we remember an old episode of our podcast, our great, lovely podcast, we were talking about games that we were really looking forward to, upcoming games. I mentioned a game called Pierre Solar HD. It was a Genesis game. They released for the Genesis 2, decades after the Genesis died.
Yeah.
It came out for the Genesis again. They brought it to the Dreamcast. They're like porting it to all these old systems. And they're like, we're also going to make new versions of it for the HD. We're going to bring it out to the Xbox and the PlayStation. Anyway, I digress. I'm really looking forward to this game. And it came out for the PlayStation, and I was like, oh shit, it's got to be coming out for the Xbox soon. It's because the last note from the developers is they submitted it both to Sony and to Microsoft at the same time for like verification to post. Like, maybe they just forgot to dot an I on the Microsoft paperwork, and it's coming next week. It's an old school RPG. I'm like, I know I'm going to pour in like 20 hours. I don't want to start anything heavy because I know once I'm going to like it's going to be a day one, I'm going to play it. So I'm just like, I'm not going to start any games. I'll play basketball, I'll play little shit here and there. And so I really didn't play any games for like a week. I played some basketball, I played games with Caitlin, whatever, but I never like got involved in a new game. Week goes by, doesn't come out. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's got to be coming out next week. Do the same thing. Don't really play games. Play like here and there. I get a couple achievements in some games that don't mean anything. Second week, still not out. No word from Microsoft. No word from the developer. Like, they're talking about like making it for the PSP now. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck happened to Microsoft? Like, it was on your Kickstarter page. Mm-hmm. It's still, it hasn't been canceled. It's still slated for release on 360 and Xbox One.
And Kickstarter never lies.
Kickstarter never lies.
No, nothing ever changes.
But like, then it got me worrying. I'm just like, okay, a little bit of history is Microsoft for the 360 initially said that independents can't publish their own game. They actually have to have like a distributor kind of situation. Like a proven track record, so they're not just releasing essentially
like a
indie.
movie.
Yeah, you can't just release a bunch of indie titles and have it on the Xbox Live Arcade page.
Yeah,
because they're just like, yeah, you made.
Because then any idiot's going to throw games in there and it's going to spam the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's quality control.
Yeah.
And they were just like, no, we're our own company. Like, this is a legit game. Blah blah. We've published games before, and they're just like, we'll see what we can do. But they never made any promises, and that was like news I heard.
Yeah.
So then it comes out for PlayStation. Still no word. And then that parody thing comes out, and I'm just like, fuck, now it came out for PlayStation.
Yep.
And it wasn't reviewed through the roofs. It's like averages a 7, so it's not like it's like 10s that every system needs to have. So I'm like, what if they now enact parody control and they're like, we don't want this game anymore?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do?
I don't think they will, though. I think it'll eventually come out for it.
But it's like, I've just been sitting on games, like not playing, so I'm like, I don't want to start a game and then immediately put it down to play this.
Yeah.
So I've just been like bouncing around games. I'm playing Halo 3 DLC. I played a game called Fairy Tale Fights.
Of course.
I'm playing Kinect Disneyland Adventures. Just like stuff to fill my time.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, just come out already. So I can wait on it.
So speaking of Disneyland Adventures Kinect, so I downloaded the demo for Fantasia.
That's a weird transition.
I know. It wasn't forced at all.
No.
So I downloaded the demo for Fantasia Music Evolved. Stupid subtitle. I feel like Microsoft made them do it like they made them do Halo Combat Evolved. But anyways, so like I had mentioned before, I was kind of not exactly on the fence of this game. I was kind of over the fence, but still holding on to it, like with one or two hands. So it was going to take some missteps for me to jump back over the fence.
Yeah.
So after playing the demo, though, I think I've let go of the fence and I'm going to commit to this game.
Okay.
So I don't, to jump ahead a little bit, I'm not going to buy it right away because I don't feel right now like I want to pay $60 for it because on the one it's $60.
And we talked about the streaming issue.
Yeah, we can't stream it yet, so I'm going to hold off a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's not worth $60, but I don't want to pay $60 for it, especially right now. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the way they implemented the Kinect. Like I feel like out of all the games they've made so far, Harmonix, it's the most accessible. So, with like Rock Band or even Guitar Hero, it's like you had paraphernalia, you had to be playing an instrument, there was this big learning curve. With Dance Central, it's kind of, even though it's seemingly more accessible than like a guitar, it's more embarrassing and people have a harder time jumping into it. But this, you literally just have to stand there and use your arm gestures. Okay. So even if you mess up, it's not a big deal. You don't look like an idiot. And it's easy. I'm sure. You can wave around like one of those like inflatable guys at a car lot. Yep. But like I said, it's more accessible and it's more fun. And I will say, though, playing through the demo, there does seem to be a pretty deep story. So what it is you are a conductor. You're one of, what's his name? Yid Sid's apprentices, just like Mickey was in the original film. And you have to, first you learn how to conduct. There's a demo and all that stuff. And then he sends you to different realms where you have to get stars. If you gain a star, it then adds it to your apprentice hat. And if you get enough, then you move on. That's all I've done in the demo, so I don't know what else there is. Yeah. But there's a lot of different levels, and within the level, they're kind of like hub worlds where you can move around and do stuff. Different elements turn into musical instruments, and you can sort of compose a song. That way you can unlock new things. Once you get more challenges and do that, it kind of adds up, and you can kind of do special things within the level, and then you unlock songs and play those songs. Okay. But within the songs, then, there's a mixture of both classical and newer songs. Like I said, they added in classical songs later.
Yeah, you got to have your Bruno Mars.
I agree with you that they definitely should put classical songs in it, but after playing the demo, the newer songs were a lot more fun to play. The classical songs were fun, and it felt right as far as like conducting. Like, this makes sense. When I move my hand and do this, the music corresponds with it, and it makes sense. And I was having fun doing that. And then they threw in like a gorilla song, and I was like, this is so much more fun to play because it's a faster tempo. There's more going on. There's more for you to do. So I don't know if it, is a better translation of being a conductor, which is in theory what this is doing. It was more fun gameplay. So it does make sense that I think there's newer fun songs on there. And like Bohemian Rhapsody is one of the songs on there. And I think it's like a perfect mix of, because it has the different elements of the song. Yeah. Like it has the slower, more orchestral stuff, and then it turns into rock, which is fun. But as far as gameplay goes, like I said, there's different hand gestures you do. You sort of time it. There's kind of like little fireworks that move across the screen. And once they get to the part that you're supposed to time it, you like swipe your hand up, you punch your hand, you like do holds, you do sweeping movements. And then there's different parts within the song where you can choose remixes, more or less. So it comes up, there's like a split screen, 3 or 4, and you choose different instruments and different styles. Each color corresponds to a different style. So like when I was playing behind...
Only salsa.
There's like salsa. But that's the thing, like, I want salsa drums, but I want like heavy metal guitar, and I want like distorted vocals. And you can like do that. Like you have these little points where you can choose remixes, and then that goes together. So it's kind of like, I don't know if I would equate it to like star power, but you kind of build up a multiplier then, and if you get all the segments right in that thing, then you can choose another remix. Then I don't know what quite triggers it, but there's also this sort of freestyle mode where you create a beat. It's like a sort of mini game. It's different every song, and you sort of hit all the points correctly, don't miss a beat, and then you have this ability to do this like weird instruments. Like there's a bunch of instruments on the screen or a bunch of different notes, and you sort of make a remix, and it does a little track on top that it records. It's like 10 to 30 seconds, and you hear it, and once you get it to what you like, you can stop, and then it throws that beat into the song with you as you're playing. So it's kind of fun. I mean, they're kind of using their whole like making music accessible and fun that Harmonix does. It's not really teaching you a trait, I think, like maybe guitar. I mean, guitar, you're not really playing guitar, but you can play drums. You can get timing, you can sing, and with Dance Central, you can essentially learn to dance or get new moves. So this, I mean, I don't know if you're becoming a conductor or not. I don't know.
Put you in front of a
That's the thing, yeah. Like I don't know if you're actually doing that, but it's like that's not important. All I know is the gameplay is fun, and that's all that should really matter. So, and they have the same structure of seems to be a pretty deep story, which should be fun. But it's mainly like, I think maybe 30 songs, mixture of both classical and new songs, and then you can buy as much DLC as you want. I will say, though, the menu is a little bit better than the new Dance Central. It has the old Dance Central menu of like a list that you can move up and down with your hand, and then you swipe towards your body to select, or you swipe your left hand to go back. The new Dance Central is a sort of a grab and slide, and then you punch or push, do like a force push to select, which is a little bit more difficult. It's kind of the standard for the Xbox One now. That's the controls, and that's why they used it. But the old swipe method is a lot more fun and satisfying. I think it tracks better too.
Yeah.
That's a side note, but
well, going forward towards the camera is obviously a little bit more difficult just in terms of tracking.
Especially because
just like left, right, up, down.
Especially because this is also being released on the 360 as well as the Xbox One. That's why they have the sort of old method of menu. But it's fun. Like I said, I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm going to buy it eventually. Not going to pay $60 for it though.
Yeah.
Even though I would like to support Harmonix, I know that I like their games. I like that they're doing Kinect games. I know they've been downsizing, so I want to give them money. But
it's still not,
from what I could see of just the song selection, I'm not ready to put $60 into it just because it's prime time for games and I'm playing a lot of other games.
There's also, there's a bunch of other games that came out. Evil Within's just came out, and obviously you got Alien Isolation not too long ago, and then you're still playing Destiny. It's just like, you got to pick your battles. You'd love to buy every game the day it comes out for $60, but that's just stupid.
Yeah, it's not going to happen at this point. So,
Well, Chris, I hear that you have played a game. Let me see if I get the name right correctly. Called, oh, that's ridiculous. Alien Isolation.
Never heard of it.
Oh shit! Then my sources are incorrect.
Must have been somebody else. Yeah, so I've been playing Alien Isolation. I told you, like we had talked about it, one of the upcoming games we're excited for, at least I was. And I don't know where to start. This is another game where it's like I almost have too much to say about it. Overall,
you can't have Alien Isolation Corner and Destiny Corner.
I know. That's why I don't know. Should we do a question and answer sort of situation? I'll just start saying things and try to play off and go back and forth as much as possible.
Sure.
So Alien Isolation, the story
is... Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So we had already talked about this before, but the story is you're Amanda Ripley, who is Ellen Ripley. Is that her name?
Sure. Looks like, yeah. Anyways,
you are Sigourney Weaver's daughter from the first movie, and you're a space engineer kind of working in the area where the Nostromo, her ship, went lost. And basically, at the end of the game, you get this call to action that your mom's ship's flight recorder, the Nostromo's flight recorder, was found. It's on the space station. You have to go get it. So, go to the space station. Shit goes wrong. The second you get there, nobody's responding on the comms.
Why would that happen?
There's when you're going from your space tether from your ship to over the space station, things blow up. You get separated from your crew. Mm-hmm. You're all alone in the space station. So your main mission is to find this flight recorder, but you're slowly realizing shit has gone horribly wrong in the space station.
Yeah.
So, throughout the game, you have to deal with humans on the space station. The humans are both friendly and combative, and you decide whether or not they're friendly or not based on whether or not they have a weapon, and you kind of listen to their conversations before you engage them. Sometimes you can just walk up, and you can cool them off. You can just have a little conversation or be like, hey, there's danger here, get away, and they'll just run away. A lot of times that's not true. If they have guns or if they've killed somebody, if you see a dead body, or they have conversations about how they just killed someone, or when they say if you see anyone, kill them. Don't talk to them. Don't show your face. Just go hide. So the progression of the levels you've played through is there's sort of a demo level, and then there's kind of a level showing you that humans are bad, and then the next level is but androids are worse. So there's also androids on the ship, and they're worse. Because they will kill you pretty easily, and they will also kill the humans. And then there's the alien also. Then the alien shows up, and you have to deal with the alien. Then after that, you have to sort of deal with all three at once.
Yeah, mixed.
So it's it's sort of a stealth, survival, suspense sort of game. It's not. I wouldn't call it exactly a horror game, even though it's there's scary moments and they set up good cinematic events. But it's more tense survival. The first Aliens movie is not really a horror movie, but it is a suspense thriller, and that's what this game feels like. So it's a lot of sneaking around. It's a lot of you get to you scavenge for items and then you craft them, right? So you have anything from a noisemaker to just distract people to pipe bombs or Molotovs. You also have some weapons. There's like a pistol and a shotgun and a flamethrower, stun baton, which is fun. You can electrocute things. But yeah, it's fun. I knew that this game is overly long. This game is like 20 hours long. There's 18 missions. Some missions are very long. Some are kind of short. But I played about halfway through the game. I think I played the first 9 missions, and then I stopped playing because I didn't want it to get bad. I was really having fun with the game. Everything so far was pretty good. There was like one sort of side mission that I was kind of getting to like filler, and I was like, okay, this is starting to get weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm at a space police station, and then I'm doing a flashback, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel like the same game I was playing. So I stopped playing for 3 or 4 days.
You had to drive a car around a city.
Yeah, it's like it's just weird. Yeah, it's just yeah, exactly. I was a helicopter and I was protecting a drug dealer.
Yeah, it was weird.
So I stopped playing for a couple days, but then I threw it back in, and then level 10 and 11 were probably my favorite so far. So I've already gone over the hump of more than halfway through the game, where all the reviewers have kind of said that it gets a little wonky.
Yeah.
And I still really love it. Like I think 10 was probably the best level I've played so far. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I will say, though, the last time I played, I got less afraid of the alien. So basically is like the alien's the worst, then androids kind of suck and they're powerful and you can't really kill them. And then humans, even though they're the weakest, they will shoot you from far away, where androids will just like slowly do the Michael Myers walk to you and then grab you and throw you against a wall or something.
Okay.
So even though they're more powerful, they move slower. So there's this whole like, cat and mouse, like, okay, they're all sort of, if they see each other for the most part, they'll kill each other. There's also friendly androids, which I didn't know about. So the first time I played the android level, the first time an android showed up, I was having nothing to do with them. I was staying very far away from them. I was trying to sneak around them, and I don't know what to do. I can't pass this first part of this level, and it's because the game had not introduced the androids were bad. So at that point, androids were still good.
Yeah.
But like I said, so they're not the same androids that you see in the Alien movies. They're a different company's lesser version. They're called the Working Joe. So they're basically like this weird sort of like rubber mask with glowing eyes that just does basic work. Like he talks weird. All of them have this robotic sort of voice, and they just do menial tasks. But like I said, I was not going to get anywhere near them.
Yeah, you knew going into the game that the androids were bad.
Yeah,
so
and also if
android, you're just like, I'm not going to.
They're terrifying. So and they're like, they have sort of scripted paths that they walk, just like any other game where you're trying to avoid things. So I was like trying to avoid them, but I was like, I can't do anything. I don't know. So I just got up and I walked past him. He's like, can I help you? It's like, no, I'm good. And then I just did what I needed to do. And then after that, they became hostile. But it was one of those things where it's like I was a little bit too far ahead of the actual game mechanic of it. Yeah. But it was still fun. But yeah, like it's fun to throw a noisemaker out. So like the humans go investigate, or like the androids come out, and then the alien comes out and eats them or attacks them. So it's fun to that's another good thing too. It's like if a human randomly happens to see you, if he starts shouting or shooting at you, then a lot of times the alien will pop out and kill them. So that's fun, and also throws this whole element of spontaneity to it. Like you never know when the alien's going to come out, because it's not just based on your actions; it's based on other people's actions.
Yeah.
But that's fun. It's also fun and suspenseful when the alien is not around. Like when you don't know when the alien's going to pop out, there's always this sort of like tension. It also, sometimes it's hiding in vents. Like if you walk under a vent, sometimes it'll just grab you. Like it'll have the sort of saliva dripping down, and you'll hear it breathing, which is a lot of fun. But when you're dealing with other things, or there's like an alarm going off in the space station, you don't pay attention. Or like you're trying to like run to an airlock, you don't always know it's there, and then it'll just grab you and you die. But it's still fun. Like I said, the last time I played, though, I will say that I was less afraid of the alien. So even though the alien's the most powerful, then the androids, then the humans, it was kind of the reverse killed me. I always got killed more by humans than androids, and then I only got killed once so far by the alien, and I just did it to see the animation of getting killed by it. And it's because I respect the alien, and I don't really respect the other two, like less so. Like the humans, I'm like, fuck you guys, I don't really care. Yeah. I can run away from you, I can trick you, I can wait for the alien to kill you, but they always end up killing me more. But I will say the last time I played, because I was a little bit impatient and I had just gotten the flamethrower, you can scare the alien. If the alien comes after you, if you have the flamethrower, you can sort of back it off
Scared
if you have
away.
enough fuel. And it's kind of gotten less fun only because now I'm like, I just walk through levels like I'm the shit and I don't care. I just go about my business. If the alien shows up, I just hit it a couple times with the flamethrower and it runs away. So hopefully it was just because I was impatient, and hopefully that will...
Well, I imagine just like the idea of having enough fuel, you just have to get to points where it's just like
it takes like
scarce.
2 tanks of the fuel. It takes like almost 100. You can get 500 max if you get 50-gallon tanks. If you can get up to 500, and then it takes almost about 100 just to scare it away. So you can only do that 5 times without finding more fuel, and so far that hasn't really happened. But like I'm a conservationalist, especially when I play scavenger type games. Like I have maxed out all of my items. I have crafted every item I could the max amount of time I can. I have as many shotgun ammo, I have as many revolver ammo, and I have as many flamethrower as I can, and I never use it. Like, I always go through the game expecting that there's going to be some big, huge thing where I'm going to need to use it, and then I never do.
I feel like that's like old games have just trained you like that, though.
Yeah.
Because there's always this big boss at the end where you're like,
right. I'm going to need my rockets.
I don't want to waste all, I don't want to waste my rockets. I don't want to waste all my ammo. It's just like, because I know something bigger. I don't need to worry about these pesky Joes. You know?
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, Fallout 3, I ended the game with like 53 nukes because I never used my nukes. I scavenged everything. I always went back to my hideout and threw everything in there. So I had like 400 missiles and like 53 nukes, and I never used any of it. I played like the whole game with a pistol. Same thing like the original Dead Space. I played the entire first game with just the plasma cutter, which is the first weapon you get, because I was holding the other ammo until some unknown came out.
Yeah.
And so I make the games more hard on myself, but at the same time, it's more fun.
Well, yeah, because in reality, like, having a flamethrower with max ammo makes, like you said, you just walk through the game like you're tough shit and no one can touch you. So
and that's
just
another thing, too. The good thing is it limits every item that you craft to just 3 total. So it's not like you have like a million Molotovs or all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So you still have to strategically use it. But one of the items you can craft is an EMP bomb, which can sort of disable the androids for a little bit, and they go like, and they look really cool. And you can either place them down as proximity or you can throw them at them. And it's like an easy way to get it out. Basically, the items are, if you've been doing a lot of stuff and you get in this shitty situation, it's a way to get out of it. Just temporarily. It's a way to distract somebody, or it's a way to get away from things. But I still don't use it. Like, I think it's good the way they implement it, but I still try to do like a perfect run every time. Like, if I mess up, I just reload the save. But I will say, though, it's nice to have that safety net if I've been playing for 45 minutes before. You can only save at certain checkpoints.
Yeah.
There's terminals, and you have to like put your key card in, like wait 3 seconds. And it tells you if there's enemies around before you try to save, because they can still kill you if you're trying to save in the middle of nothing. So if I've been playing for 45 minutes an hour without a terminal, it's nice to have those ways to get out of a situation. Because more recently, the last couple of levels, I have sort of tried to use those weapons just because I've maxed everything out. I can't even scavenge anymore. So I'm like, I might as well just use these things.
Yeah, so then you can at least start re-upping.
And they are fun. They're all very satisfying. Like the EMP, like it's like this cool like electrical storm happens, and this cool like sound happens, and the androids are freaking out, which is always satisfying. And when you kill the androids, like I've killed them a couple times just to kill them, and it's really cool animation. Like the milky blood comes out of their face, and they're like, sometimes you can like rip them in half and stuff. But it's a fun game, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I know at some point it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
But right now I really love it. Oh, I did play the pre-ordered DLC that came with it, though. It's called the Crew Expendable. I guess there was 2 of them. Different retailers got different pre-order DLCs, which I think is stupid. But anyways, I wish it was DLC that you paid for, only because it uses the original cast from the movie, the voice actors, the setting, but it just feels like a free DLC that they threw in with the game. Like, I wish they would have spent more time with it.
Yeah.
So you're on the ship, you're like, it's a smaller situation, it's kind of a good demo of the game, but it's sort of taken away the X factor that makes it fun, because 1, you don't have to deal with humans or androids. 2, your primary objective is just dealing with the alien, and for the most part, it's not hiding. It's just kind of walking around the spaceship with you, which is less fun. If you always know where it is, it's a lot easier to avoid.
Yeah.
And it was always the fun tension of, I'm trying to do these 2 or 3 other things.
Where's the alien?
And then sometimes an alien will show up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to deal with humans and androids, and I'm trying to get to this timer before the generator starts again, etc. And now it's like, okay, there's an alien that's just physically walking from room to room, and I have to avoid it.
Yeah,
It's like, that's not fun.
No, because like you said, I think the distraction is the key. Like you said, obviously, like if you're worrying about 5 other things, your brain just can't also look for saliva dropping out of a vent, and then you die.
And that's the thing. It's fun. It's like the second you forget about the alien is when it shows up, and that's when it's fun.
But if you remove all other temptation except for get to objective and there's an alien, and that's the only 2 things you have to worry about, you're just like, oh, alien's behind me now, I can do a full sprint.
Right. And that's another thing too is finally I've gotten to a mission where we think the alien is gone. We think the alien has been dispatched of, but obviously that's not the case. It's going to come back. But for the mission that you play that through, it's like, okay, you can basically go crazy now. You can run around, you can make noise, you can shoot humans, or you can deal with the androids without worrying about the alien showing up, which is kind of more fun because it's like, oh, there was always that element of gameplay, but I always avoided it because I didn't want the alien to show up, and I was trying to do everything stealth-like. But it is kind of fun to sort of been let off the leash and just go crazy.
Yeah, and use the items you got.
Yeah. But yeah, I want you guys to play it for the game marathon. I think you guys will have fun with it. And I think I found good demo levels. Like, I've been taking notes of like, okay, what you guys should play to give you a good taste of the game.
Well, we certainly will. We have 24 hours to fill.
Yeah.
So it'll be tough not to play that game.
Yeah.
Unless we're just like, all right, 24 hours to Rise. That's it.
It is slow, though, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Like, missions can take... that's the thing. The missions are inconsistent in length. One of the missions took me like 15 minutes. Another one took me like 2 hours.
Well, I think it's all... I mean, like any game where the majority is stealth.
And it's like just, you got to do it perfectly. And it's
it just really depends on how you play it. It's like Hitman levels. You can play it stealthily, and it'll take you 2 hours, and you'll feel super satisfied when you beat it. Like, no one spotted me, I killed the guy and walked out. Or you can be the jackass who treats it like Call of Duty and
just
go in
shoots
with
everyone.
a machine gun, and you shoot everyone and beat in 10 minutes. You're just like, yeah, we both beat the level, but I did it the right way. The game's called Hitman, not Call of Duty. Like, you weren't supposed to mow down people with a machine gun. You were supposed to sneak in, change disguises.
Silent assassin all day.
Yeah.
So, like, I tweeted out about this, but, like, when you first get to the space station, every single wall you encounter is covered in graffiti. And it's not, like, useful graffiti like most post-apocalyptic games where it's like, the cake is a lie, or, like, you know, like, oh,
safety.
Like, Jane, go this way. There's a safe house in New Haven. Things like that.
Yeah.
It's just, like... gang symbols. It's just like random stars, but it's like every single wall is tagged. There's the one thing is like, oh, like the marshals, which is like the police force. It's like, oh, they don't like them. That's the only thing that's kind of useful, but it's like not. It's not like, oh, avoid this room, or oh, the androids are killing us. It's like, hey, this is my gang symbol.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I made a star. It's like, why is there so much spray paint on a space station? And why is that everyone's first reaction is to just grab spray paint and just go crazy sauce on it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that would... I think that'd be number, like, 50 on my list to do.
Yeah. It's like,
the fan.
If it was, like, 3 or 4 years later, and like I said, if there was any sort of even codes to it, if it was like, oh, this is you know... the Cactus Gang territory. Don't come over here. Or if it's like, oh, like there was one door that was like X'd out because like shit happened in there. That's fine.
Yeah.
And like when
it's like the Walking Dead thing where it's just like dead inside. Like you
perfect.
say that.
That is useful graffiti, and I understand why they spent the time to do this. But like I said, when it's just a yellow star or like a weird symbol or like a thing, like every single wall that I look at has graffiti on it. I'm like, okay. Something else happened. Like, this is a little bit weird.
I mean, again, I'm no expert in the graffiti department, but spray cans make noise.
Yeah.
You have to shake them.
Yeah.
And you have to spray them. And if truly you're doing this after the shit hits the fan, this isn't just some, like, 12-year-old kid who was bored on the spaceship before the alien got there.
Yeah.
You're just making yourself available to die,
which is
everything.
Which is probably why there's so many dead bodies there too.
Yeah.
Another thing is so you get to hide in different locations. So there's like lockers you can hide in. You can hide under a desk, but you're still kind of exposed. That's like a last minute sort of situation if you have nowhere else to go. But there's also the things I call like Jurassic Park lockers. So there's little metal cubes that look like the Jurassic Park thing where they hide from the raptors.
Yeah,
so you can hide in those, and those are my favorite things to hide in because I always just pretend it's Jurassic Park every time, and I'm hiding from a raptor, and I say "clever girl" every time it gets close to me. So when you're inside, of the things too, any sort of container, you can lean back farther away to sort of help you, and you can also hold your breath, but you can only do that for a certain amount of time.
Well, you can't hold your breath forever.
I know, so it's fun.
So
it's like a fun sort of like a mini game every time you hide somewhere, because it's like, okay, do I hold my breath now or do I wait? And it's like, and then when you let your breath out finally, it's like and like you see a little breath come out and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I don't know. It's a fun game.
I look forward to playing it. Good stuff.
So, are you playing anything else?
I am.
Okay, good. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like you knew it was coming.
I know.
I'll try and make this short.
Don't.
Okay. A long time ago, on a faraway planet, back when 40 quarters was a thing, and I was thinking of show ideas, because I was like, reviews are not doing it for me. And I was going to have this reoccurring segment. My goal is I wanted to play through every Final Fantasy from 001 to
XXXXX.
to Triple X, the porn version.
Yeah. Which is every version.
Yeah, and I wanted to do them in order, start to finish. No guides, no nothing, just like complete playthrough as if this was my first attempt. Because most of the times, like, I've played, I guess, the US versions. I've played the main ones, like 1 and 4 and 6, and like they're sporadic because there's a lot that were released in Japan only, blah, blah. And there's a lot that I never finished because it's just, back then I didn't give a shit about playing games. So anyway, jump ahead. I started it. I played through the first 2, 1 and 2. 2 was a Japanese-only release. It only saw, like, US soil when PlayStation, like, re-upped the graphics.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those games, I love Final Fantasy. I love the whole genre. They're tough to get through. They
did not age well.
You have to want it to play it now, because essentially, to catch anyone up in like 2 sentences or less, like the old school Japanese role-playing game, they love their stats, and they love their leveling up, and they love their grinding. And that was the game. That was really the whole purpose.
It was like a
10-minute
game that takes an hour.
Yeah,
100 hours
to
play.
Like, you get your 4 characters. There's the first one. There's no story at all. It's your 4 characters that are like rid the world of evil. That's your story. You go to like the first cave. You get your ass handed to you because they just expect you to sit and fight the same battles over and over and over outside the cave until you level up to a point where the first cave's easy. Then you're like, oh man, okay, I do that. We'll go to the second cave. Nope, you gotta do that in between every cave.
Yeah.
So like you said, a game that's 10 minutes long. I think I beat the first one in somewhere around the mark of like 15 hours. Crazy for a normal Nintendo game. Then I started the second one. I'm like, I'm gonna continue this. The second one never saw a US release because it was even more wonky. Like, you don't level up in the original way.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess the best example is like, so normally in every role-playing game, when you get enough experience points, you level up. And when you level up, your stats go up. Hit points, strength, whatever. In this game, there's no levels. The only way things go up is by using them. Which kind of makes sense. Like, you use a sword enough, you get better with a sword.
Yeah. It also makes everything a lot more annoying and grindy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to get more hit points, you start the game with like 20 hit points, you have to use your hit points, which means you have to get hit more. So in order to level up,
you have to let an enemy.
You have to let enemies wail on you. There's a secret
That's
where
broken.
you attack yourself because you can do that.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter who attacks you. It just matters like if you have 20 hit points,
damage.
Yeah, you lose hit points, you gain hit points. So you just do that over and over again, and then you can kind of coast. They experiment with the story, blah blah blah. Second one's still the same thing. It's a lot of work to get through the game. It's kind of fun, like if you're a fan of the series, you can kind of see staples that kind of start to develop. You're like, oh, this character always does this, or this character always does this. Started the third one. It didn't see US soil until 2006. And I don't have an updated copy. So I tried to play it on a ROM for an emulator. game
Doesn't work. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to come back to that one. Anyway, what I'm getting to is I finally got to start the fourth one, which for United States was Final Fantasy II.
Yeah.
It was for the first one for Super Nintendo. I can't stress how much I love this game. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I know it's nostalgia. I know I'm playing it, and because it's a game that I played so long ago that I can sit there. I know where secrets are. Yeah. I know what kind of things to do.
You get like a rush. It's
I get a boner playing this game. And it's just, and Caitlin was there and she was watching me.
She saw the boner.
She didn't see the boner. Okay. Thank God, I had a blanket on her. She covered it up or whatever.
Cat was batting at it.
But like, she was trying to like do something, and I just kept trying to talk to her, and it was like, and the great thing about this game,
right? It's like you're like a little excited fat kid talking about cake.
I wanted to explain everything in the world, and she's just like, "That's nice, dear," and just like, "No, you don't understand. It's crazy. You can do this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you can do that." And my favorite part is this.
But since I have a podcast, I get to do that now, and you just have to fucking let me talk.
Like when I talk about Destiny.
Yeah. And you just have to sit there, and maybe you leave and go pee, and I just pretend to talk to nobody. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But I'll keep it brief. Final Fantasy IV, great game, and here's why.
Stats.
It's the first game the first Final Fantasy game. There's been RPGs before it, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear your bullshit. It's the first Final Fantasy...
You're arguing with yourself right now.
It's the first Final Fantasy that has a good story. And I'll sum up all the other ones. Your 4 characters defeat the evil. The first one, you had nameless characters. You had to name yourself. You give them their own jobs. That's it. 3, same thing. You start with 4 characters. You give them jobs. Collect crystals, defeat evil. Second one, they tried to have a story. They're like, oh...
Didn't work,
Same thing.
That's the first one I played was the second one, and that kind of got me off of JRPGs. That made me afraid of playing
the second, the Japanese only
Final Fantasy II, which was the first one.
Which is the fourth one, which is the one I'm playing now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I played one of them. It might have been the Japanese only one.
Okay. Yeah.
Because at the time I was getting like Japanese game. I got like the Japanese Mario Kart because it came out first, and I had to get the adapter to play the Japanese Mario Kart on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It might have been the Japanese one.
Yeah, it might have been Japanese.
And it was like I had never played an RPG, turn-based and like stats. I was like, this is too much for me.
A little rough.
Yeah.
But the fourth one, it's got an actual story. You're like, each character has their own story arc, and it's something that like I feel that even newer RPGs don't do that well, where like everyone is initially this one overarching story. It's always good versus evil, whatever. Yeah. But then like you usually just have like side characters come in and they're playable, but then they just join your story arc. Good versus evil.
Yeah.
You know, and just like they don't have their own personality. And this one, and I know I'm just talking it up because again, but it's just like you meet a character and you're just like, this character isn't in it to save the world. It's just like, for instance, there's one character who's mad that his daughter ran away with this piece of shit person. His goal is to essentially go beat the crap out of that person, and then that's it. He doesn't care that the world's turned into shit. And what happens is you get to a point, he just leaves the party.
Say, guys,
you
got my
goal. Get him. You're like, this guy's great. He's got a lot of spells, whatever. He's kicking ass. And then he just gets to a point where he beats the shit out of that person. He's just like, I'm fucking done. I'm out of this party. Like,
which is, that's always how revenge works. Once you get the bloodlust, you just tap out. I'm done.
And then it's just like, oh, where'd that guy go?
Yeah.
And I thought it was great, and as a little kid, because this is the first game that I played where you have party members that die, and the deaths matter, yeah. and they don't come back. It's obviously it's part of the story, but it's just like you get this group of 4 characters that you really band together, and you're like, oh, this is a great team. And then somebody dies, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, how am I going to replace Yang? Like, this guy was amazing. And it's just like, no, that's it. Like, you deal with it. Now you're a party of 3, and you have to work around until you find a 4th person. Whatever. But the thing is, just to me, I'm going back, and I just immediately get lost in the sense of, like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know the story through and through. I know where all the chests are.
And then you get more excited when things happen, because like, oh, that means something
But that's
later.
the thing. It's like, just like, I'm looking through it, and it's funny. Like, I didn't realize until I started playing now, and you realize, like, there's comedy elements that you wouldn't pick up on until you've played the game a couple times, and you're just like, yeah, that's great. Like, you put that in there.
Wink.
That means nothing to 12-year-old Phil who's playing the game.
Yeah.
But 27-year-old Phil is
like,
laughing at a game that was made in like 1993.
Yeah.
But so I'm finally getting to the good Final Fantasies. I'm excited because I will plow through 4.
Finally, fantasy.
Yeah. I'll plow through 4. I've never played 5 because that was, again, like a Japan only and then just got released like on updated systems. But then like 7 everyone's heard about, and 10 everyone's heard about, and like 8 and 9 are still like popular and stuff like that. So like those, I finally get to the point where it's like Final Fantasy hit its mark and it knew what it was doing. And like 1, 2, and 3, it was just like, oh god, I made a mistake. I made a huge mistake.
I've made a huge mistake.
But like I had to just stop one night because I'm just like, I would just play this whole thing through. I'd play 35 hours in a row.
Yeah.
And play this whole thing through.
Which is how you're almost supposed to play JRPGs.
And just like I gotta take a break. I gotta go to bed. I have to work the next morning.
Yeah.
I can't. And again, I know it's nostalgia based,
which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
If you, for some reason, want to attack the what I'm doing, like the Final Fantasies, or you just want to be like, hey, what's a good old school one? Like, play 4 and 6.
Are you talking to me right now or the audience?
I'm talking to the audience.
Okay.
I don't know if you'd be into it because it's still turn based. It's still stat-based.
I'm not against that anymore. I just, as a kid, that sort of was like a different world to me. So once I didn't know how to get into it, and because the story was too Japanesey for me, I was just like, no thanks.
See, I don't know if I'd be curious as to see how you feel about it. Since you don't have that immediate nostalgia kick that I get, like you would only get it from the graphic style.
And that's the problem too, is going back to such an old game, if you don't have nostalgia, it's kind of hard to...
Yeah, so I don't know if you'd pick it up and you'd be like, yeah, no, this is a good game. You might pick it up and just be like, I've played a lot better. And I pick it up and I'm just like, what are you talking about? You don't need an Xbox anymore. I got you a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and well, that's the problem. There's no way to turn that off. You can never see that from objective eyes.
I can never go over. And one thing I realized is, initially when I started this quest...
it's a good word for it.
Yeah. I was just like, Caitlin was all on board. She's like, I want to see that too because she watched
Mass Effects and stuff. Yeah.
She watched her brother play Final Fantasy VII, I think it was. She enjoyed that, and she played the sequel to 10-2. It wasn't 11 at the time. It was 10-2.
Yeah. That was the thing about not naming things like Final Fantasy is you get in trouble
when you when you realize that there's a super popular one.
Yeah, it's like this is not a full game. It's not 11 yet.
It's like when they had to come out with the movie Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. They already came out with so many Final Fantasies past that. They had to reference the number 7 to make it a point. And I realized... And this probably applies to all RPGs. Fun to play if you're into them. Awful to watch.
Yeah, anything that's slower, that's turn-based, that's stat-oriented. Yeah.
Because, like, I'm just like, oh, you got a bit... Like, I was just like, the first 3, and obviously I didn't play through 3 because it didn't work, but the first 2, I was just like, you don't need to pay attention. Like, this is going to be boring. There's no story. I'll just try and play it and just knock it out. And obviously that got delayed because it was hard for me to even get through because it was so bad. And so when I got to pop in 4, and I'm like, this is when it gets good. This one's got a story. I love this game. You'll want to watch it. It's going to be super great. And like you go through that just opening scene and it's all fun and games. And then you get to the point where you're just like, oh, now I have to actually walk to the next town. There's a lot of battles.
It's like I'm staring at I'm looking at a skill tree. Like
and
the battles take a lot of time.
I'm just like, maybe you don't need to watch this one yet. Maybe you can start watching around 6.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 when they start having like cutscenes.
I think that's the problem with any turn-based game, though, is like the cinematics are always there. They're always great, but it's like, okay, that takes up 1/10 of the gameplay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like, and it's again, like it's just one of those things. You have to be the one engrossed in playing it because if you're just watching from the outside, you're not going to get the whole story because.
No.
You have to be super attentive to read every line of dialogue from every NPC and actually give a shit. So chances are if you're watching it, you're getting bits and pieces, it doesn't mean anything to you. But if you're playing it, you're just like, I've taken this character from this town to this town, and he's got a lost brother, and I've talked to this person, and they mean something, and oh my god, this is great. And so it's like, it's super fun to play, but at the same time, my excitement, I can't transfer over because she's looking and she's just like, yeah, it's like the 10th time you fought an imp. Congratulations. You killed it in one hit this time. It's like, you don't understand what went into this. But it's just like, there's so many moments where it just like, I just think back, I'm just like, and the last thing I'll say that truly makes me a nerd, obviously,
because nothing else has.
Not talking about Magic the Gathering, not talking about playing Final Fantasy. Before game soundtracks were a thing.
This is going to be good.
I used to have a boombox.
Okay.
With a tape deck, and I would buy.
They're going to sound like a talk boy.
I would buy blank tapes. I would put the boombox up to my TV speakers, and I'd hit record, and I would record.
Well, play and record at the same time.
Yeah. And I would make Final Fantasy soundtracks.
Yes.
I would be in the overworld.
But only for yourself. It wasn't like a mixtape.
No, it wasn't a mixtape. It would be like, I'd be in the overworld, I'd hit play record, I'd put the controller down, I'd let that music loop like once or twice, and then I'd go into the town, boom, track 2, here's the town, just jamming out to the town.
Right.
I don't think I ever actually listened to them. No, I just made them.
When you're, in the kitchen making some beef sandwiches, listening to the soundtrack of,
like, oh man, sweet
just
sounds.
grooving into it. Or it's like trying to fall asleep every night to that.
Yeah.
So you had dreams about Final Fantasy.
It was great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Not to brag, because I never would, but on my iPod right now, full soundtrack to Final Fantasy VI, which was still a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
I still get the bleeps and bloops. So
good for you.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my Final Fantasy talk.
That was Final Fantasy Corner?
It's Final Fantasy Corner.
Are you going to do it every week?
I could do it every week.
We could have a show of just corners. Like, we would have to do it as a random midweek show.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think I'd run out of things to say because I'd essentially just repeat
the same thing.
Because Final Fantasy's
the same thing. Yeah.
Are you, not to, once again, spin this out of control.
Please do.
Are you thinking about getting Evil Within?
Okay, so that's a good question. I mentioned you before off air because I felt like the fans were all on the Evil Within side before it came out.
Yeah.
And I was not thrilled based on the developer videos that I watched. I watched like an hour or two of gameplay here and there.
Slow door
and
open,
I never really, I don't like the slower door. And even the videos I've been watching, a couple of my friends on Xbox have been playing it, and it records videos now and then of what they're doing, and I always watch them. Just the mechanics to me just seem really outdated. Okay. They're very slow and clunky. You have to, when you aim, you can't move. The character animation just feels just so outdated. And with games now that like every game has like free running and parkour and just movement in general has just gotten so great recently that then watching a slow, like he's like walking through quicksand and the response time for controls are really bad. I don't know. It's only been getting, I think, like 8s out of 10, which is fine. It's great. All the reviews are like stupid story, convoluted story doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But okay gameplay.
I will say, like, I haven't looked at... Like, I know it came out very recently, as of the shooting of this episode. So I haven't... The shooting. I haven't actually looked at this as much as I have other recent games that have come out. So I haven't seen, like, the videos, like you said, or even the scores for that matter. Instead, I saw that Bayonetta 2 got a 10 out of 10. That's besides the point.
Sexy as always.
Sexy as always. Best game ever. Yep. That and Borderlands 2.
And the pre-sequel came out.
I did. I saw that. I tracked the pre-sequel more than I tracked Evil
because you wanted it to fail, right?
I wanted it to fail so bad. How did it not fail?
I don't know.
It's
because everybody loved Borderlands 2, so they still have that sort of like hangover.
Every comment, there was a review that I read, and I don't even remember who it's from, so I'm not even sparing the instant. I just don't remember who it was from.
Yeah.
And they basically just shat the game out, and they're just like, if this is the exact same thing as Borderlands 2, except for it's not as good, and they gave it like an 8. I was like, it doesn't even make sense.
Which is like every review for a Madden game.
Yeah.
Not as good as last year. They took away a lot of features. 9 out of 10.
They're basically like all the shit that was wrong with Borderlands 2 is still wrong in this game. They didn't fix anything. There's still no story. There's still the guns don't really mean anything. Blah 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 blah. And they're just like, but if you like Borderlands, you'll like this 8 out of 10. It's like, no, you don't understand. Like, there has to be improvement.
Yeah.
Madden shouldn't be keeping the same score if there's not improvement. Even if you make a game that's perfect at the time, when you come out the sequel, you have to improve upon perfect.
Yeah, but at this point, even if Maddens were getting 4 out of 10s, it would still be the number one.
No, yeah, game. I mean, like, Madden's, Call of Duty's, whatever, like, you can give them a 1. You can say, like, if you buy this game, I will burn your child alive. Like, people aren't going to care. It's still going to sell like wildfire.
Did you see the September charts for PlayStation just came out?
No.
Top selling games were Madden, NHL, soccer. Those were the top 3 games on any platform, any new gen console was all Madden 15, NHL 15, FIFA 15.
I believe it.
Yep.
FIFA, somehow, I mean, I like soccer as much as the next person.
No,
maybe
you don't.
more so.
Really?
I would say I like soccer
In America, maybe.
In America.
Okay.
More than the next American.
Yeah.
And I understand. But
you can't play soccer in space.
You can't play soccer in space. But I don't understand. I still don't understand how insanely popular it is in America, the video game.
Yeah.
I understand, like, if you were going, like, hey, UK sales, soccer number 1, like,
makes
sense.
You
fucking better bet it's number 1. But just, like, number 1 in the US, FIFA 15, like, none of you fucking idiots even know what soccer is. Like,
It's the thing is, though, it's like once you have that game that all your friends play, you just play it. Because it's more fun to play with your friends. It's more fun to play with other people. So that was the thing. Like, for a while, I was just playing, like, the NCAA football games.
Yeah.
Just because my friends had it, and we had a league every year where when a new game came out, we all bought it, good or bad, and we all played a new league together. So,
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, you know, it's one of those, I guess, like, cultural games where just, like, everyone's got it.
Yeah.
You just got to play it. Like, I like playing soccer games, but I wouldn't buy a FIFA every year.
No.
I like playing basketball games. I don't buy a basketball game every year.
Have you seen the horrible face scans from the new? So
I knew that was going to be a problem.
Of course it is, because it's like
the demo made it look so easy. It's like, look, it takes 5 seconds. Boop, boop.
Yeah, it's like if we scan the face of a developer / artist on the game, look, their face looks perfectly like it does in real life. Oh, I'm sure you didn't, fiddle with that at all or take 5 attempts to do it.
I know it's a completely different system, but PlayStation, or not the PlayStation Eye, the Xbox iCam.
Yeah, well, that was the worst.
Just trying to scan a picture into Rainbow Six took me 500 tries. I can't imagine trying to do it Kinect where it's actually got to scan and implement, like, dots for my face.
That's the thing, too, is because it's so advanced, when it messes up, it's weird. Because it uses, like, skeletal structure and, like, teeth and eyeballs and stuff. When they're not in the right place, it does look like a nightmare.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think the 360 has the scan. I think it's only next gen stuff.
Yeah.
So when I eventually get 2K15, you
gotta put your face in the game right away.
I can't though. I want all the 360.
Oh, okay.
I won't be able to. Unless all of a sudden
we get 200 followers.
We get 200 followers real quickly.
Yeah.
Because I keep telling Caitlin, I'm just like, I need a new basketball game.
Yeah, I've played this. I've done everything I can with this game. I've changed all the settings.
And she's just like, why don't you? I'm just like, no, we have a wedding. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't drop $60.
You're not gonna have any excuses though in a couple weeks.
No, I know. Once the wedding's over, I'll just be like, how much money do we have in the bank? $65. All right, I'm gonna go buy it.
Perfect. Yeah, 55. Maybe they'll let me barter.
Yeah, I'll give them some pubic hair or whatever.
Yeah, because they take that as currency. It's worth more than $10 apparently.
Yeah, apparently mine's $5. That's tax.
Yeah, why don't you just swallow your balls and take this pubic hair? That was close to being the next sign off. Swallow your balls.
Just swallow your balls.
All right, guys. I guess that ends another episode.
Another one in the bank.
Yep. We're getting
in the sperm bank.
Ever closer to that 15 episode goal.
Yep. Our usual spiel. We have a Facebook page up, and we have our website. This isn't fun anymore. Podcast.com. You can follow us on Twitter at NotFunPodcast.
Also, as always, Phil's Twitter challenge is still standing, where once we get 200 Twitter followers or comments on the website or likes on Facebook, Phil will buy a new generation console.
Yeah, that day. I can't stress that enough. You hit 200, and by you, I mean us, but you put us over the map, meaning you, meaning the listener. Hit the 200 mark, I will get an update on my phone, and wherever I'm at, assuming I'm wearing pants, I will put pants on. If I'm not, and then go buy a new system.
It's weird that you had to specify the pants thing, but knowing you in person, that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. If I'm in my car, no pants. If I'm at home, no pants. I'm doing a podcast, no pants.
No pants.
It just seems, to me, like pants are really for only walking out of the house to your car.
Well, you bought that 10-pack of breakaway pants in the 90s.
And once I break away, I just leave them on the ground.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, that's what you gotta do. They're disposable pants.
Yeah, you don't keep them.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to us on iTunes.
Yeah. Can't play soccer in space.